Matthew Williams seems like a typical 2-year-old. But just 6 months earlier, this father-son playtime would have been much different.
And we just noticed that he didn't pay attention, he didn't turn to his name, he didn't play with toys in a typical way.
Unlike his twin sister Morgan, Matthew didn't speak. Instead, he expressed his many emotions and frustrations with outbursts and tears. So on their pediatrician's recommendation, Mark and Marcella Williams took their son to the UC Davis Mind Institute in Sacramento, where their suspicions were confirmed.
I kind of in the back of my mind always knew there was something not quite right, and it possibly would be autism. But when you hear it, it's a different thing.
We just kind of get concerned with what it could mean. Like, is he going to be normal for the rest of his life? And, you know, what kind of things are really going to affect him down the road? Is he going to be, you know, like any other kid?
Autism isn't typically diagnosed until a child is older, but doctors recognized many of the risk factors in Matthew, including a lack of communication, a narrow range of interests, and unusual repetitive behaviors. Experts here at the Mind Institute diagnosed Matthew as at risk for autism and considered him a good candidate for a promising new treatment called the Early Start Denver model.
The Early Start Denver model is a method of intervention developed for very young children, and it draws from a number of different sources, both theories and science.
Dr. Sally Rogers co-authored the Early Start Denver model, or ESDM, which she has been working on since the early 1980s. It's a program that has gained worldwide recognition, including a ranking on Time magazine's top 10 medical breakthroughs in 2012 for its promising results in children as young as 12 months.
Something about these really, really little ones. I think they're still in a developmental period where their peers are learning to talk. They're not out of sync yet with other 18 to 24-month-olds. Everybody in that age is learning to talk.
And we'll go, open boats.
At 18 months old, Matthew was noticeably behind his twin sister and his peers in verbal and social development.
Cupcakes?
But researchers believe they could help him catch up fairly quickly.
Caterpillar. When he first came to us, he had no language. He made very little eye contact. He had very few play skills. This would be a great way to work on jumping with 2 feet.
He's very good at jumping.
Do you want more juice?
Yeah.
Yes.
Amy Board is a speech pathologist and the team lead for Matthew's intervention, which included a handful of therapists as well as his parents, who also received training so they can continue the treatment at home. It's an intensive 20 hours of therapy each week.
Where was Matthew's focus during the ball routine, do you think?
The therapy combines several science-based practices for working with autism into one intervention program. So rather than analyzing just communication or eye contact, the ESDM model is designed to work on improving several skills at once.
So during the book routine, you saw me elicit eye contact. You saw me do vocal imitation with him. You saw me elicit sound effects with him with the slurping of the soup. Worms are yucky. Yucky. And the idea is that we get to teaching about every 10 seconds. So about every 10 seconds, you're going to see some kind of a learning opportunity. And that's our fidelity goal with the ESDM model.
And the results? After 5 months of therapy, it would be hard for someone who doesn't know Matthew to see a difference between him and any other child his age.
We didn't think that something as simple as playing and structured play and these things could really modify, you know, his brain, because it's changed how his brain takes things in, and it's just like, wow, it's amazing to see.
And it's not just Matthew Williams. The first ESDM study involved 48 toddlers with the same level of functioning, separated into 2 groups. One group received the ESDM therapy, the other was referred to a community program for therapy. After 2 years, the children in the ESDM group had an average IQ increase of 18 points. The other group increased only 6 points. Their language improved as well, and 7 of the children in the ESDM model had enough improvement in overall skills to warrant a diagnosis change to a milder condition. It's also elicited critics who say it falsely suggests there's a cure for autism. Dr. Rogers says while it isn't a cure, the research speaks for itself.
Autism is a description of a set of behaviors, and behaviors change. And, if a child no longer meets behavioral criteria for autism, they don't have autism.
For parents like Mark and Marcella Williams, who once had so many fears about what the future would hold for Matthew, it's simple.
We know Matthew now. That's the easiest way to say it. 6 months ago, he could not communicate with us at all. He couldn't even point to tell us that he wanted something.
All I know is I'm blown away with how well he's taken to it. And, it gives me a lot of hope that this is becoming a larger piece of teaching and overcoming against autism.
And so that's really what I'm aimed for. Remove the disability, help children function in every environment, help them be able to interact with peers and do what life expects for them of their age. That's my goal.
Sally Rogers says there may eventually be a day when autism is described more as a learning challenge than a severe, lifelong disability. But for now, much about autism is still a mystery. For Mark and Marcella Williams,